Hi, my name is Cami Ross. I'm a study abroad advisor at Case Western Reserve University, and I'm here because Earth Day is coming up, and I really wanted to talk about how you can study abroad sustainably. Also, by the way, the photos in this are all student submitted. So first off, let's talk about some facts and definitions. Study abroad at its core includes international travel. Even for short periods of time, any travel can have a significant impact on a location, a population, and a world. As part of the Office of Education Abroad's goals, we encourage all of our community and study abroad students to respect the environment and to be thoughtful and sustainable with travel practices whenever possible. So sustainability means meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In addition to natural resources, we also need social and economic resources. Climate change is a long-term change in the average weather patterns that have come to define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. These changes have a broad range of observed effects that are synonymous with the term. In these graphs, you can see that prior to the Industrial Revolution, emissions were very low. Growth in emissions were still relatively low until the mid-20th century. In the 1950s, the world emitted just over 5 billion tons of carbon dioxide, about the same as the US or half of China's annual emissions today. So the result is that human-caused emissions of carbon dioxide need to fall 45% from 2010 levels by 2030 and reach net zero around 2050 to limit climate change catastrophe. So one of the really exciting pieces about studying abroad is that no matter what program you go on, you'll see a world of differences. For example, while Germany recycled as much of 70% of their waste in 2007, the US only recycled about 30%. Germany is aiming to reuse every single item produced, making their country more sustainable and eliminating the need for landfills. With travel, you will find that sustainability may well be built into cultural attributes within a country. This means you have the opportunity to live a more sustainable life and gain awareness of issues, even beyond the classroom. For example, I have a couple of photos here. One is on the right is Austria, where you have a wide selection of recycling options. The left is Germany, where most public buildings do not have air conditioning, mostly for environmental concerns. You'll also find that, for example, in South Africa, water conservation is very important. And you'll see that showers are supposed to take 3 minutes or less. In places like Morocco or Turkey, you'll find that toilet paper is not especially common. Some of that has to do with logistical concerns like old pipes that might be older than the United States itself. But it comes to play in that as Americans, we are used to using toilet paper, taking long showers, and not thinking much of it. Those are different cultural concerns around the world and something that they wouldn't even think of. The average American consumer produces just under 5 pounds of trash each day, and a family creates about 18 pounds. Multiply that for a year, and you've got 1,600 pounds per person. These numbers are considerably higher than the averages for residents in other nations. For example, in Europe, the average amount of trash generated by one person in a year is just over 1,000. So the world is obviously thinking about all of this. Sustainability is intertwined. These are the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and I want you to learn them so that way you can help them accomplish by their 2030 agenda. These are 17 interlinked global goals, which really are a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. The agenda recognizes that reaching these goals requires involvement, international, national, regional, local, and you. So each one of these, number 1, no poverty; 2, zero hunger; 3, health and well-being; 4, quality education; 5, gender equality; 6, clean water and sanitation, and so forth. These are all very important attributes for you to learn. But what can you do? For example, for poverty, if you're traveling abroad or studying abroad, you can find out more about the cause and effect of poverty in your host country. Talk to people about the issue. How are good jobs and economic growth and maybe natural resources connected? How are the items that you buy sustainable and fair? How are you taking action to not support things like child labor? This is an opportunity for you to really get to know and help your host country. What kind of world do we want to live in? How can your interaction with a country grow together and be respectful to the people and their environment? So here are some general tips for studying abroad. The first is know your host university or provider. How is environmental responsibility integrated in their mission? How is the university or program giving back to the community? How are they making sure that you are not going to be a voluntarist while you're studying abroad? Is there a university or organization-wide statement on diversity and social justice? Are there green housing options available? So travel. A longer trip is a more sustainable trip. So you can study abroad for a semester or more, and that's a great opportunity. There's also going to be a lot of options for you to utilize public transportation and walk or bike whenever possible. You can see from this graph emissions for different modes of transportation. Flights and cars are going to be your heavy hitters. So the more that you can remove yourself from those, give you a better opportunity for you to reduce your greenhouse gases. So wherever you are, try to live close to where you study. Walk to classes instead of taking a train. Reduce your carbon footprint whenever possible. So food and water. Carry a reusable water bottle and see if you can go the whole program without buying a bottle of water. Use water sparingly and take quick showers, especially in drought-prone areas. Use biodegradable soaps and organic sunblock. Cook or go to local restaurants that may have less packaging and less food waste. And then eat locally as much as possible. Support local businesses, artists, restaurants. Don't go to big chains. Try to avoid McDonald's and bring your own bag. In fact, many places you're actually required to. Do your research on the impact of your host community. Is your study abroad going to be harmful? Are you impacting animals, local economies? Think about how you visiting this location might affect the people and the place that you are. It's very important to learn about the local ecology and local concerns. So souvenirs, you know, it's great bringing things back to family, bringing things back for yourself, but try to avoid buying kitschy souvenirs that will eventually get thrown out. Also, don't take samples from historic sites, parks, or cultural areas. So I would love it if you studied abroad for a long period of time, but not everyone has that luxury. There are plenty of short-term options available. I have a few listed that are more on the sustainability and environmental concerns side. These are going to be your break programs, winter break, spring break, summer break. You can do field studies in Costa Rica, marama bean domestication in Africa, global health in Uganda, and we have many more. In addition, there are quite a few long-term programs. I'm going to just go through some of the quick highlights. IES Abroad, for example, has a program in Buenos Aires where they have emerging economies, and they talk a lot about sustainability within Argentina, within Chile. Galapagos Islands is a really cool program where you start out in Quito and you learn about sustainable tourism and evolution. And you'll be spending a lot of your time on the Galapagos Islands. DIS Abroad is in Denmark. They have a great selection of sustainability courses, including sustainable development in North Europe, climates, glaciers, and human impact, a lot of Scandinavian concerns, as well as urban development pieces. For James Cook in Australia, this is one of the top 20 environmental ecology programs in the world. They are located right on the barrier reef, and so a lot of their research and course availability is actually geared towards sustainability. These are just some of the classes that they offer there. Trinity College Dublin has a wide swath of options for sustainability or environmental concerns, air pollution, solar energy, business and society. These are courses that might not be offered here at Case Western. We have a long list of programs that gear towards environmental engineering, environmental studies, sustainability, sustainable business. But really, all universities around the world will have something that will be able to fulfill your interest in that area. This is a growing field. We're seeing a lot more of this. And so you can really study abroad anywhere. We have programs all throughout Australia that are really great towards sustainability. Their wildfires, their barrier reef issues, these all hit home very hard for Australia. Germany is one of the most sustainable countries in the world. They've done a lot in terms of carbon neutrality, recycling, research. Ireland has some great opportunities for flood research, for water studies. Netherlands, we have a program, Delft University, where you can learn a lot about environmental engineering, wind power. New Zealand has some great programs, and a lot of their student groups are actually very involved with trekking and tramping across the Kiwi continent. It's an opportunity for you to take courses in sustainability, but go camping on weekends. Singapore is often in the news. They are a very green urban environment. You can learn about these things at National University of Singapore or NTU. Sweden also has quite a few courses, as well as the UK. So don't think that you can only go to what I've talked about, because there are so many more options. So now you know where you want to go, or at least you're starting to think about it, but how do you get there and how can you be sustainable with that? Travel leaves a significant carbon footprint. The definition of carbon footprint is the amount of carbon dioxide and other carbon compounds emitted due to the consumption of fossil fuels by a particular person, group, etc. A trip from Cleveland to London, for example, is 3,733 miles. Plus maybe a low range apartment for a semester. You're going to be creating 3.31 tons of carbon footprint. In this particular example, which is just one of many, to be honest, you could offset that by about $66. So another thing to keep in mind is the Green Passport. The Green Passport is a pledge designed to inspire and guide students It's really something that you can sign up for online or on Facebook. It reads, as a green passport holder, I acknowledge the interconnectedness of the world's people and the environment. I pledge to explore and take into account the social and environmental consequences of studying, living, working, traveling, or volunteering abroad, and will try to improve these aspects of my international experience. While overseas and when I return home, I will do my best to minimize my impact on the environment, act in culturally respectful ways, engage with locals, and participate in the local community. I also will give back to my host community. So I think that's a great way to end it. We are here to support you. Come meet with one of the study abroad advisors, and we can really help guide you to what the best program is for you and when the best time to go abroad would be. Our website is also an excellent resource. We have some of these sustainability tips that are listed online. But really the next step should be to set up an appointment. You can do so via My Journey or from our website. I'm excited to work with you soon, and I'm excited to see everyone who's been interested in this subject. So happy Earth Day.